Some German engineering. We locked the door with the key from the outside and it locked perfectly fine. The alarm went and beeped as if we locked it, but now it won't let us get into the car. So what we had to resort is flip down the cargo tray back there, get a screwdriver, use the screwdriver to pop the cup holder out so that we can at least pop the hatch out, even though it's running. So that makes a lot of sense. So let's just keep working at this and get it open, see if we can drive home.
All right.
Great success!
How are we gonna close the hatch once I get in?
You can pull it slowly. Can you fit? Here, pull this one too.
Recline this one all the way. So the car's fixed. It's done. I guess this is a Nazi theft deterrent system. It's driving. Sounds good. Sounds really good. But we got to figure out why the central locking isn't working correctly. Other than that, the car's done for now. It's crazy. It's a mess. So I got to do a detail. But other than that, it's ready. All right, guys. So it's mainly back together. But as you guys saw in the previous video, this thing is giving me issues. I'm not too sure what the problem is. Online it says that sometimes that cable that's in here could be maladjusted, but it sounds like the lock is trying to lock it. But now that I disconnected the cable, it unlocks and closes perfectly fine. So I don't know what that's all about. A few of the little details that you guys saw in some of the clips, or that you will see in some of the clips, while we had all of these off, we painted these so they're all nice and glossy and they look awesome. Why not? You know, if they're going to be off the car. A little bit of stuff in the way here, but all these little vent covers, painted them all gloss black, and you guys are going to see that in the time lapse, and it looks sick. It looks really, really awesome. All the car really needs is a really big detail in general. You know, cleaning windshields, front, back, sides, getting all this old tape residue off of the door seals. Interior needs a deep clean. There's a lot of dust on the inside, and really good vacuum. Really nice detail in the back there. And then here you guys are gonna kind of see a little preview of what might happen. But other than that, just enjoy the time lapse, and then we'll catch back up afterwards. All right, guys, so final assembly is done. A lot of annoying little pieces that I showed you guys. One, the fender versus the door, lining it up and then being able to see which one goes on first. If I was to do it again, I'd probably do the doors first and then the fenders, just because the doors needed a little bit more aligning to do. A lot of the trim panels on the inside, instead of like some Japanese cars where they're hard plastic, these ones are rubber. And if you don't press them in all the way, the doors won't close all the way. Other times they'll just kind of stick out from being loose on the ground versus pressed into the door. Other little fiddly pieces like the mirrors, for example, they're held in by pressure, not necessarily by any kind of bolts. The only bolts that go down are actually in the neck of the mirror, and then the rest of it is held in by a retaining clip. So getting that aligned and then sitting flat, it kind of seems like you're breaking it, but if you just kind of carefully push it in, it'll be fine. As far as paint work, it came out great considering we did it in the garage, and we didn't have too many runs, maybe a little bit here and there with a clear, but that's just because sometimes we're rushing. We do this after work. I will be getting and replacing the headlights. These ones are really rough, even though I just buffed them a little bit. All of the bulbs are burnt out and stuff. What would you say? What have you learned from this project versus other ones?
I just like to do simple panels at a time. I don't like doing the whole thing, especially the part where you have to mix the paint. If you don't mix it all correctly, you'll get spots and everything like that. Yeah, it's not gonna come out as even.
What would you say was the most annoying part of the whole project?
The whole project, I'd say putting things back together, especially since it's an Audi and everything is so tight, literally there's no room. Everywhere you stick your hands, you get scratched, you get cuts. That's probably the most annoying part.
And he's done a lot of American cars and a few Japanese cars, and they're way simpler. I don't know if that's an engineering thing, whether German cars are supposedly built better because of the fact that they add more clips in, or that they use aluminum screws instead of conventional steel for rust reasons. I'm not too sure. The whole car itself is supposedly galvanized to help with corrosion.
And most of it's all Torx. It's not.
Yeah, it's a lot of Torx bits. So if you over torque the Torx bits, you're kind of screwed. Which actually happened to us over in that fender right there. I was going in to pull it out, and what actually ends up happening is your wheel will kick up a bunch of dirt and underneath the mud guard right there, and there's a screw that sits right there, and all the mud piles on top of it. So even though they made it so that it's corrosion proof, it still ends up seizing up, and then your fender won't come out without you torquing it the wrong way, and then or having to cut it out. So that's pretty annoying. Other than that, don't let body panels sit around for too long, because then they'll start to warp out of shape. Like with our bumper, it came out pretty great considering how much damage was up front. But then the grill, the aftermarket grill, that also might be an issue with the aftermarket grill. The aftermarket grill has a few gaps in between it that we'll probably have to tape up and then have sit in the sun so that it can go back into shape.
Well, it also depends on how they packaged it and where it's packaged, what weight was on top of it. It would have warped during the shipping.
Yeah,
that would have caused it too.
If I had to do it for a business, I'd probably charge more for Audis, more for Volkswagens than Audis. We've done quite a few Mercedes stuff, and Mercedes seems more like they're built like a little bit like tanks, where everything is kind of heavy duty, yet it's like one bolt holding two panels. Japanese cars are made to be simple. That's why, one, they're more affordable and they come off the line a lot quicker. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. The color came out really great. It was a mixture and a concoction of just random colors that we had, a lot of random silvers, but putting them in the drill for probably a good 10 minutes a few times actually blended it in really well, and the color came out great. The clear, what kind of clear is it?
First, perfect automotive finish. It's a 2-to-1 mixture, and it's actually a pretty good glass. It gives you like that extra nice glass on it. It's not like the OEM, which is a little bit flat. This one, so far I've used it for a long time, and it's actually a pretty good product. I like it, and I've always stuck to it for a couple of years now.
And it cuts really well. It actually, when we were cutting and buffing it, it gave us no issues with contaminating any of the pads too harshly. The sandpaper came out wet or dry. We were able to sand it out pretty smoothly. And it bakes well in the sun. So out here within 24 hours or so, we were able to really work it pretty good. You guys are getting a sneak peek from the next episode where we're doing a cargo rack or luggage rack. So take that for what it is, but you guys won't see it until the next episode, so stick around. Other than that, any comments, questions, or concerns, anything for the good order, go ahead and leave it down below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.